And then lovely to have some new names and faces. So welcome everyone. So last week was our new moon on the 27th of May, last Tuesday, and since then the moon has been waxing to the full moon, which will be on the 11th of June. And Venus has just been beautifully bright in the mornings. Actually, this morning isn't such a clear morning, but we've had many clear mornings, and I found this about Venus. It said, "This is Venus at its brightest for early risers. Look east right before the sun rises. At its greatest, western elongation today, this was on the weekend, Venus will be the last celestial light to be extinguished by the daylight. It is a reminder that all day long the stars and planets are still there when you look up, not just quite bright enough to poke through, sorry, just not quite bright enough to poke through all that blue sky." So it's always a beautiful reminder that the stars are there. I know Mary Oliver talks about the day bright stars, and that the stars are still there every morning. I thought I'd share with you something from the Divine Feminine card pack. It's a card that I pulled for called Parvati. They're beautiful, beautifully illustrated cards, and she's the goddess of devotion. And she said, "I'm a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves." So it talks about in the book what she is, but it says, when your soul selects her card, what is soft, gentle, and nurturing like water can be far more powerful than what is inflexible and fierce. The energy of this mountain goddess is about the strength that we can give and receive when we devote ourselves to the healthy bonds of love. Parvati is about the divine feminine potency of being a calm, benevolent presence, especially when something seems to threaten a deeply meaningful relationship. Transformation with this goddess calls for softening. When a situation is hard, even painful, Parvati is suggesting that you allow your fist to unfold. Open and release what is clenched in fear or stress. Remember that your love is a mountain that cannot be moved, and that this bond between you is holy. No human hands or words can ever break it. The answer of what's next or highest for you can be found through the subtler acts of simply abiding, not reacting, not running, not hiding. A deep reservoir of power can surge up from within us when we choose to remain present. Letting devotion inhabit us in the moments when our ego is typically fled infuses us with the capacity to transform all of our relationships. Devotion is not attachment, it's letting go of the illusion that you and this lover, this friend, this child or family member, the soul within you can ever really be separate from you. Devotion brings us home to the point and purpose of every relationship, love. A love that can never leave and that, like a mountain, can never move. A love that evolves the soul. And the soul voice meditation is, what am I most devoted to in this moment? And the intention is, I am a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. And for me, what landed hardest is that the transformation with this goddess calls for softening. When a situation is hard, even painful, Parvati is suggesting that you allow your fist to unfold, open and release what is clenched in fear or stress. Remember that your love is a mountain that cannot be moved. And I think so often for those of us, especially with children going through different transitions and life experiences, it really yeah, moving on to new places. It's hard to I mean, it's easy to lapse into control and fear and stress, and the feeling that it's not going to be okay. And this invitation just to open and release what is clenched in fear or stress is such a powerful one. And so it's a reminder that we're not the thoughts in our head and we're not what people think of us. We're this calm and abiding presence of love. And it leads on so beautifully to the poem I'd love to share with you today, which is a Mary Oliver poem about trees. We've done this one before, and I was reminded of it this week by a friend of mine, Colleen Wilson. She posted it on her Instagram, and we've just been in Joburg for the week, and there's some magnificent trees in Joburg. I love going to Zululand. There's some very beautiful trees there. Um, and it's just a very powerful practice to walk and to sit among the trees and taking in their energy. We've also got that beautiful space in St. Francis Bay. There's a lovely um, community garden with some beautiful fig trees and well the ficus trees. And there's we used to go and sit there with our kids when it was a windy day, and just the natural affinity of young children for trees is quite amazing. How they just love being in trees, on trees, and get a deep rootedness from trees. So I invite you just to listen to these words, and just to let them land this morning. Taking a deep breath in and assuming a posture. We'll move into our meditation afterwards, but assuming a posture of upright dignity like the trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness, discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. And so in this moment, we choose to stay a while, like the trees, and to walk slowly. And I invite you to close your eyes, to take a few deep breaths. And with each breath, I invite you to gently allow yourself to drop into your body and to ground yourself to this earth. As a tree, you may ground deeply into the earth beneath, being supported by the earth and receiving the earth's support. Sitting upright with the sovereign dignity of a tree, rooted and grounded, with head and shoulders opening and expansive, like the trunk and branches reaching up towards the heavens. Perfectly balanced between both, suspended between earth and sky, supported by both. Dropping into our bodies so that we can feel a gentle expansion, allowing for the space between branches, space between leaves. And gently starting to move down through our body, softening just a little, starting with the temples and jaw, just inviting this feeling of expansiveness of opening, of light that we experience at the tops of the trees. Expanding into the space. And moving down gently into the throat and neck. And just inviting a gentle softening and expansion here. Dropping down into the heart space, the chest, the neck, the shoulders. And with each breath, inviting an opening and expansion. And allowing of ourselves in this moment just to be. Not to do anything, not to be anywhere, just to be like the trees. Sliding down from shoulders into arms, forearms, hands. Holding them in a position of gentle opening and expansion. Allowing. Moving right down into fingers. Sensing into palms of our hands, the fingers, space between fingers. Then moving back to our torso, our chest, our abdomen. Just sitting with rootedness in our pelvic bowl, our pelvis. Our spine. Feeling how our spine stretches out of our pelvic bowl, offering us this upright dignity and strength. And also sensing into the rootedness and groundedness, seated on a cushion or chair. Moving down into hips, thighs, knees. To calves and ankles and feet. And sensing where our feet connect to the earth. Following the outline of our feet on the floor. Sensing into this deep-rootedness and support. Anchored into the earth. And zooming out to take in your whole body from a sense of wholeness, of spaciousness, of expansion. As if changing from a camera from a narrow focus to a wide focus lens. So we take in our whole body with a wide focus. Dropping into our heart space and breath. Just sensing each breath. Sensing into the calm, abiding presence of love that sits in our heart space. We don't have to go anywhere, do anything, prove anything. Just to be here as a refuge for ourselves and others. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself in which I have goodness, discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light from flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, and to be filled with light, and to shine. Sensing into that light that sits in our heart space. And perhaps inviting a loved one into it, someone you wish to support, someone you wish to wrap in this light. Not having to do anything or fix anything, just holding them in your heart space. When you're ready, just wishing them well and letting go of the image, sensation in your heart space, letting it drift up like you might let go of a balloon and watching it drift up. And just on the last few breaths, offering the same love and support to yourself. Perhaps resting your hands on your heart space, anchoring into this feeling of love and light that sits within us. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes, taking in lights and colors around you. I also want to share this Rumi quote with you before we go off. And forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair. And forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair. Wish you a blessed Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to unmute or put anything in the chat. It's lovely to be back. Thank you, Corrine. Thanks, Prabhashni. Managed to keep the builders at bay. We've got some builders here and ask them not to bang, so it's a little bit more focused. Thank you all. I wish you a blessed day. And I'll share the poem on our group. Thanks, Mum.
Thank you, Nikki.
Pleasure. I'm going to stop the recording.